Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Apocalyptic Knitter. This is podcast number 18 or episode number 18. It's been a few weeks and I'm gonna apologise, not that I need to, but I do, that this isn't gonna be the most glamorous and sparkly podcast I've ever done, because those who follow me on Instagram know that I've been in the wars, but my knee has been mended, so it's been a bit of a whirlwind few weeks, and I found out that I needed surgery. Make that bit straighter. I found out that I needed surgery, and then a cancellation came through, so it was quite a lot quicker and it was all very kind of rushed in, but because my knee was locked, the sooner I got in to kind of get it released and everything, the better. So the surgeon was really good. Long story short, I had a meniscus repair done 3 years ago and I've been having problems with it. It was a year ago, last August, that I had a bit of a funny few weeks, then it was alright, and then from February onwards, so the last 6 months, it's just been repeatedly catching and locking and dislocating and all that kind of thing. And people were like, oh, how did it happen? What have you done? I'm like, literally, well, the first time it happened, I was in the middle of recording. Do you remember that episode a few times ago when I said, I'm really gonna go over, sorry, my knee's just jarred. So yeah, he said that basically that repair had failed. So he's kind of gone in, I won't spare the details because it'll turn your stomach, but he's done a very thorough job. And yeah, so I've got this brace on my leg for 6 weeks, and it's set so that my knee can't go past a 90-degree angle. I can't quite fully straighten it out yet, but I'm doing these exercises every day which hurt, but I'm determined to carry on because that's what happened last time. It just kind of felt like it hurt every single day for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then months and months and months, and you get used to the pain and all of a sudden you realise it doesn't hurt as much at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And it's a very gradual thing, but yeah. So the first week I was like, oh, you put your feet up, do some knitting. I was like, oh, okay, because I'm not very good at, I don't like sitting still. I know it's an ADHD thing. I can't, even though I have to medically rest, I still feel like I'm lazy and I'm doing stuff. It's so messed up. So I thought I'll do some knitting, and then I started doing some knitting, so I'm going to go show you this Gansey that I've been working on. And I think day 3 I thought, I'd casted it on, and I was just literally on the second row of the rib, 2x2 rib, and I'd messed it up. I'd obviously knit 3 at some point, and you know, it was all out of sync, and I'm like, oh, do you know what, I'm waiting till my head's a bit clearer. So I was just been working on my litmus cowl, which is just literally knitting round and round and round, nice and easy. So it's only gonna be a little podcast this time, so I just want to show you the 2 things that I'm working on. So this was what I've been working on, just literally round and round plain knitting. So I'm almost at the end. So this kind of loops round, and you can loop around twice. So just trying to use up lots of odds and ends. I was using this like a medium grey, and then I don't know if you can see a bit of a change in the grey because I ran out. And I've run out again. So I've got a choice. I've got this 4-ply, which is a bit darker, or I've got this soft grey which matches it better. Probably can't see in this light, but it's DK. So if I do the DK, will it kind of, what's the opposite of concave? Expand. So do I just kind of decrease a couple of stitches on that row and then increase back when I do the third? Because I don't want to do it, I don't want to kind of cast it off now when I know it's not quite long enough, and then they can't quite, you know, they feel like they're choking themselves if they want it, you know. And the thing is though, there's lots and lots of different colours on this, so I don't think me using a slightly different grey is overly gonna, you know, stand out really, is it? If it was just like a proper one grey and one pink all the way through, then maybe. So yeah, so it's nice being using up lots of little bits. I think I might try the DK one, see how that goes. But yeah, I think there's only a few more to do, and then you do a great big Kitchener stitch. So that pattern is the Litmus Cowl by Jude Harper. It's really popular in the knitting world. So anyway, I've started to reduce my painkiller medication, so I've got a little bit more faculty. I'm just like not sleeping constantly in the daytime. And I've got a new cast on to show you. This is a very, very special piece that I'm making for somebody. I like to call him a friend. A friend at work who's commissioned me to make a Ganseys sweater. So this is it so far. So I did the traditional knotted cast on. You can see it better there, which I'm really quite pleased with, because the first time I did it, so I'll show you mine in a minute. I started doing mine and it was the first time that I did the cast on, and I just wanted to practice a bit with it. And what I noticed is, so you use like a triple strand, so 3 strands, and then you wrap around your thumb and then you knot each stitch. So each repeat that you do creates 2 stitches. Now when you do like a normal cast on, those stitches are quite sort of vertical, very kind of like straight. But when you do this one, those 2 stitches, each like twin pair that you do, kind of are like a V shape. It's somebody that from a knitting group had said, oh, it's like the old ladies or something. It's like a weird phrase that she said, oh, you can kind of see the lady's arms or the lady's legs, or I don't know what she said. Probably dreamt it. Sorry, it's the opioids. So when that gives you that V shape, when I did that first row, I found that there was lots of gaps, and I didn't really like it. I didn't like that kind of lace bit, and I thought, what can I do? Because I thought if I knit into the back of every stitch on the first row, then it's going to pull that cast on a little bit too tight. But I noticed that the whole, because I can knit 2 purl 2 rib, And then when I was doing the purl too, that wasn't very obvious of the hole, but when you did the knit too, it was. So I found that every 4th stitch that I did, when I did the knit too, I knit one through the back of the loop, and that just seems to have tidied it up there. So I thought, right, perfect, and it's not lost the elasticity of it. And then talking of elasticity, so I took down the measurements and everything, and because I'd already done like a bit of a practice on mine, because I did the gauge swatch, got the gauge, and this is the exact same wool. So this is the 5-ply from Frangipani, the 5-ply Guernsey wool. So they were kind enough to send me a shade card, because I think we were looking to do navy, and it came through, and there was like, I don't know if you can see, there was like about 3 or 4 different navies there. So we've kind of gone with like this traditional navy, which I really like. Anyway, so when I did, this is one that I did mine because I wanted to test it out a little bit. And can you see what I mean by the cast on edge there? You see how it's got these little holes? I mean, I'm not bothered because it's mine kind of thing, but I wanted it to be nice and as perfect as I could make it. Anyway, when I did mine, the traditional is when you do several rows garter and then you do a few rows 2x2 rib. So when I did that, because garter stitch kind of lays flat and rib brings it in, I was able to kind of get an easier gauge swatch with this. And this is my measurements. Oh, let me guess, what did I put it down as? Basically, when I got their measurements, it was very similar to mine, as in like, oh, perfect for the size that I was doing it for mine. And it worked out about like 22, yeah, so I'm like a 44. So when I got their measurements, same again, it was in centimetres, 59 centimetres or 118 diameter. So I thought, oh, perfect then. So I'd cast on for my back welt I am going somewhere with this, 177 stitches, right? And I thought that's perfect. Because it doesn't have, I mean, it's not going to be skin tight, but it's quite, the traditional fitting is quite like a fitted kind of, I mean, it does, there is give in it, there is stretch in it. But then when I've done those, because they wanted the rib, rather than doing the garter stitch and then the rib naturally brings it in. Now I also cast on about I ended up doing about 183, so about an extra 5 stitches. And when I compare them both, can you see how it looks like this is narrower? And I thought, oh my god, so I've got to rip it back. But that is at its relaxed state. So I can I mean, you probably can't see there. I mean, that's not super stretched, is it? Right? So when I do that, oh, come here. That is fine. And once I start knitting the plain, the garter, or the stockinette, what'll happen is you'll get that the flatness of the piece, and then when it comes down to the rib, that rib bit will just kind of pull in, but there'll be plenty of stretch in it, and I can block it out as well. But I think it's the drugs. I spent a bit of a panic last night thinking, oh my god, do I have to redo it? But I don't think about it. I think I'm literally in my own little head a bit too much for that. But I'm really pleased with it. Feels very rustic. I don't know if that's the right word, but it feels really, really good. And it's not too, because it's only 5-ply, it's just like a sport weight. It's not bulky. So I'm on the worst bit of it, as in, like, does anybody really like doing rib? I don't think we do, but we have to do it. And usually when you do that bit, then you get onto the plain knitting, and it's good. So this is the back. I think I'm at 6 centimeters now, and I knit, I think it's 7.5 centimeters, so we're almost there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on a needle holder, and then do the exact same, and then I join it in the round. When I join it in the round, there's a little, so the chap that I'm making it for, loves all the traditional techniques that are used in it, so as many of those that I can kind of keep that heritage of it, then I will do. And although they traditionally knitted it in the round, well, obviously on four needles back then, it wasn't, they didn't have Knit Pros or anything like that. But they did like a fake seam, so they literally, and there's a couple of different variations where you can do like 2 stitches of purl, just like a column up the side. But there's one that I've seen which I think is really neat, where you have 2 knit stitches and then a purl either side, and it just gives that really nice neat groove going down the side. So I'm going to make an executive decision and go for that. What's been helping me, because I'm not necessarily following a pattern, and that's, I think, the thing that could be quite intimidating for Ganseys. So I bought this book, I just got it from Amazon, and it's really beautiful. It's by Beth Brown Reinsel. Now normally when I buy a knitting book, I tend to buy it because it's got patterns in that I like. But this is, we had an idea of what they wanted, but I kind of wanted to kind of understand about the actual techniques of it. And oh my goodness, so there's like little things. So here I've got like all the different motifs that you can have, so I'll come back to that in a minute. And they had some really nice, some anchors. Can't see, oh yeah, there's the anchors. And they also have traditionally, oh there you go. You see those edges there? That's what I mean with the fake seam where it's just kind of knitted in. And I'm doing this one, but it's navy and you can't bloody see it. But there we go. They also did where you can knit your initials, and they will be knitted on the, it tends to be on the bottom left hand side front. So I might check with them because I know that they weren't sure if they wanted it on the right hand side, but I'll just check with that. And then you've got the plain body, and then you have what they call a definition ridge, so it's a few ridges of garter stitch to kind of break that up, and then you have your yoke pattern. Now they also wanted to kind of be close to their roots. They're from the southwest of the country, and we saw there was one for Appledore, because each fishing port had like a different like an identifying yoke pattern, yoke design. And we looked at Appledore, and that was just so plain. It was literally just a 2x2 rib. I thought I can't do that. So we looked at Polperro, and that looked just what they were after, really. It was interesting enough. It wasn't overly thing, so I'm gonna go for that. I've got some pictures of it, and without being all, I can identify what the patterns are with the motifs. So once I'm not as sleepy, I'm going to be able to like plot the pattern out, because obviously it'll depend how many stitches that I've got. I think you knit it in the round up until the definition ridge, and then you separate, and then you do the front and the back separate. That's from what I can see. Of course you need to separate them, otherwise you won't be able to get your arms in. Oh God, you know. I'm an idiot. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. That's where my head is at the moment. Oh, dear me. Yeah, I've knit you a great big tube. You don't have any arms, do you? No. Another design feature that they have is shoulder saddles. Now I really like that, where it's just like almost like a shoulder, not a pad, not padding, but it's instead of just joining the front and the back, you have like a strip of design there that then just flows neatly into the sleeve. Now I did a jumper for my husband a few years ago, and this is a really nice pattern actually called the Mount Robson pullover. It looked beautiful, but it was all fisherman's rib. Oh my God. And that had the saddle shoulders, I think they're called. And I just think it's a really nice effect, a really nice feature. And then they also have, like, the underarms normally we just have the sleeve seam, and then but they do these things like a diagonal on the underarm, and that just kind of gives a bit more flexion, I think. It's called the underarm gusset. So I can show you some pictures. I quite like this one that's got a little mini cable. And there's another thing that I read about the cables, is because everything's kind of knit so flat, and also it's quite a fitted fit. When you're doing a cable, say if you're doing like a swatch, the cable brings that bit of the knitting in. So I'll have to bear that in mind if I'm doing the plain, and then if I've got like a cable column there and one there, I'll have to be mindful to increase a couple of stitches and then decrease at the top when it finishes, And that, to be honest with you, it wasn't something that I'd considered. They call it the cable splay. So that be there, you see how it kind of draws it in, and there you would kind of, once you've like resolved it with a couple of stitches, it lays nice and flat. So, and this is what I like about this book, it's all things like that, because you know, I really want to make a good job of it. So that is where I'm up to at the moment. I'm hoping to finish, put the other centimetre onto this, and then get the other one cast on. It shouldn't. I mean, I started knitting this last night. And at least now I know what I'm doing with that cast on edge as well. So yeah, so I'm really excited. I've just got that initial to put in, and then I need to kind of do my sums and work out. I don't want to knit too far up and then realise, and then he's got like a thigh length tunic instead of a jumper. But I need to kind of plot out the pattern and work out how long. I think I need to work out, I mean, and this is the beauty with this book, it's got some patterns in. So what I might do is have a look at the style of the jumper where it has this half yoke, half plain, and have a look at the total length, because I've got written down like the measurements of what his total length is, and if it means that I need to knit a few more extra inches to get the length that they need, then I'll do that. But yeah, I think I'll feel better once I kind of got the front and the back done and joined, and it'll feel more of a thing. So yeah, just a bit more the rib to go. And so that's where I'm up to at the moment. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and it wasn't too much of me waffling on about the book. But yeah, they're really good. Knitting Ganseys, really recommend it. I didn't realise as well that they also do like a Gansey cardigan. I think the reason why I'm not sure what to do on my cream one, is I'm not quite 100% worked out what I want to do. Do I want to do like a jumper? Do I want to do a cardigan? And then they've given us this pattern, which really threw a bit of a curveball. Like a bloody dress, that, isn't it? Because I've got for my, because they say like a standard man is like two 500 cones, right? Now I'm over 6 foot, and the chap I'm making it for, he's also over 6 foot. So I've got 1,500 grams of each. But I don't know how. I don't want to start doing a tunic dress for me and then realise I've not got enough to do the sleeves or something. But so I shall see. It'll be interesting to see how far his yardage goes. So yeah. Anyway, that's enough for today, and thank you very much for your patience. I know I've probably come across a little bit dozy or whatever in this episode, but there we go. Drop me a message and let me know what you're working on, and if you're making a Gansey. I know that a friend of mine is. She's making a couple at the moment. So, but yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I hope you're keeping well, and I'll check in with you soon. Bye for now.